What's going on, you guys? DZRCKS here, back with another drop of knowledge. This time I'm going to talk about 9 tips on how to improve your choreography. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe for plenty more content just like this. Drop in knowledge, how-tos, vlogs, and plenty more stuff like that just to help you improve as a dancer and have a little fun with your boy. So, with that said, let's go ahead and get right into it. Okay, tip number 1 is to plan it and understand it. Take whatever song that you're going to do, really break it down, understand what the musicality is, what musicality pattern you want to hit, what it is that you're really kind of going for, and really try to take that time to figure it out. You don't want to just start making a piece and just like, I don't know, just let things come out. You don't really want to do that. You want to make sure that you have a good game plan. Pick which part you want to do, whether you're going to do the chorus, whether you want to do the verse, the bridge, whichever part is going to be the breakdown. Plan out which part you want to do and make sure that you understand and listen to that part over and over again so you really have a good understanding of the music, the lyrics, and how they work together and how you can really move to it and make choreography do it. So, first one is plan and understand. Tip number 2 is to find inspiration, but don't bite. Biters will leave. So go out and just look at dance videos, see, and this is something that's still like, I wanted to put it in, but I'm going to put it in because it's important, to always be inspired, but don't bite is the biggest thing. So don't like, okay, I got this song and I want to make a Matt Stefanina kind of piece, so I'm going to go watch hella Matt Stefanina and do the moves that he does. Don't do that. That's bad. Don't do that. Error, abort, delete, copy, flag on the play. It's all bad. Don't do that. Make sure that you're just going to go look to be inspired, to be pumped up to dance and to choreograph by looking at things that you like. But don't take those things that you like and try to just do them because you think it's cool because it's successful for somebody else. Don't do that. Be inspired, but don't bite. That's step number 2. Tip number 3 is to conceptualize. Tip number 3 is to conceptualize. That's not it either. Conceptualize. Tip number 3 is to conceptualize the piece. You want to come up with a kind of concept, a way to help yourself move. So you're not just coming out with moves that don't really like work together in a sense. Like you don't want to like have like this really big high energy that goes into like a smooth, low and sexy if it's like a pop song. And it's just like, damn, well, it's just kind of all over the place. So make sure that you're coming up with a kind of concept that you want to follow with the song and really act out and bring to life. It's going to make making the choreography a lot easier because you're giving yourself already ideas to go off of on how to move and how to do it. So it's going to come out a lot easier if you come up with a concept for the choreography before you start working on it. So tip number 3 is conceptualize. Okay, so tip number 4 is to dance to different layers. That's why we go to planning it out and planning your musicality, because you want to make sure that you're trying to give it different levels of musicality by hitting certain layers of it, whether you're going to hit the drums, whether you're going to hit the guitar, if there's a guitar, whether you're going to hit the lyrics, if there's lyrics, whatever it is that you want to do, you want to try to use each layer so it gives you different it gives you more variety when you're going through the piece, so it doesn't just get stagnant and stale. Because if you just hit one thing, it's just going to be one plain, straightforward thing that's like, it's cool, I guess, but you want to have more of a surprise with your choreography, and you don't want it to be very predictable. So you want to make sure that you're using the different layers so you can build it up, build it down, wherever you need to go to give the audience a different view each time. So use different layers to make sure that it's not stagnant and just plain. So tip number 5. Tip number 5, be creative. One of the rules, not rules, but one of the things I try to do is to do the choreography, like do some move and then choreograph it and then scrap it and then take whatever comes after, because it's going to force you to, one, not use the most basic moves, the most normal moves that come to your head at first. It's going to force you to, okay, get that out first and then scrap it and then see, okay, what else can I do? How else can I move? It's going to make you dig deeper into your library of moves to bring something new out that's going to possibly work better. And you can do this obviously as much as you want. I go through choreography. I'll be stuck on one part and add like 8 different moves until I get to the one that I really, really like. So don't get stagnant on one. Don't get so sold on one like you can't come up with anything better. Test yourself. Try it. If you like it, but maybe you want to try something else, and keep trying to keep this movement on lock, but keep trying new things until you get something that you really like. You can always go back to that move, but it's always better to give yourself the opportunity to create something new, create something better that you wouldn't do right off the top of your head. So tip number 5 is to be creative. Also, just to touch on number 5, being creative, try to make sure that your choreo doesn't look like anybody else. If you're being inspired and you like these certain people, let them inspire you, but try to bring out your own creativity to try to develop your own style. There's nothing that's really going to be brand new that nobody's ever done, but the way you do it and how you do it could always be different, and that comes down to your creativity. So really try to push it. If you are going to do a move that has been done, you can do any move. It's just about the creativity that you put behind it and how can you make it different. So even if it's something that's been done, you can still make it you by being really creative. So try to really test how you can really do things and what being creative to you really kind of means when it comes to movement and applying it. Okay, and tip number 6 is to add feeling, add yourself, and add a story to it. I just kind of lumped those all together just because it just kind of felt like it should go together. You want to add feeling just so it's not a stagnant piece. The best pieces, well, in my opinion, the best pieces to me are something that you can really feel instead of just do. Doing is cool, but when you add the feeling, when you add story to it, when you can choreograph and be able to tell people like, hey, this is what I was feeling, this is what I'm going for, this is the character I want you to have, this is what, you know, this song kind of means to me and it made me feel like this, so try to channel this. If you're able to really choreograph your piece that way, with that in mind, with those things in mind, feeling, adding yourself and adding your story, then it's going to be a lot easier to go and teach people, because you're going to be able to give them these tools to really work with, and that's where dancers are also actors, and they have to be able to act out what it is that you're feeling, what it is that you're giving them. This is your script, and you're having them act it out. So make sure that you're trying to add the character, trying to add the feeling. I say add yourself because you really want to put a piece of you into your choreography. I always call my choreography my art. So you always want to put a piece of yourself into your art so people can really identify it as you, and you can identify it as you, because it's a piece of you that you're giving to your students, whoever they're teaching, whoever it is that you're teaching the class to. So add those things to it is because it's going to make it, one, a lot, in my opinion, a lot more pleasurable of a piece, and it's going to make it easier to teach other people when you can give them something to go off of, like character, feeling, and story. So that is tip number 6, 7. And tip number 7 is use contrast. Try to go between highs and lows, slow to fast, stops and goes. The more you use contrast, the more your piece is going to come out of nowhere and have more surprises and keep the audience kind of on their toes about what's going to happen next. And again, it doesn't get stagnant if you're able to use contrast. So contrast is a simple thing, but it can be really difficult. So Make sure that you're trying to add it where you see fit. If you see it fit to be really slow and chill here at one part, then do that. If you see it fit to be really quick and hard, do that. You know what I mean? And try to really mix it up so you get a different feel and you're less predictable when it comes to your choreography. So tip number 7 is use contrast. Tip number 8 is to take your time. There's no rush to make choreography unless you have a job and you're being rushed. Then by all means, make sure you hit your deadline. But if you don't have a deadline, just take your time. People get choreo blocked because they can try to really force it out. And like I said, there's no time limit to getting it out. Your creativity is gonna work at a level on its own. You can't just force your creativity to just come out. So take your time. It's okay to take your time. There's been pieces I started working on years ago. I had like an 8.5 or something like that, and I just kept it for a long time until it finally it was like a tent piece. That's what it was. I had this section forever to start. Never finished it because I just had this bad choreo block, and randomly I heard it later, like a 1.5 years later, and the rest of the piece just came out. Like a 1.5 minutes of choreo just came out in one night, and I was just like, whoa, oh shit, okay. So there's going to be perfect times that things are going to come out. Just, you don't have to force it, you don't have to rush it, just take your time. Be happy with your progress that you make. You can add a couple of moves here and there, cool, take your time, it'll come out when it's ready to come out. And number 9 is do you. Even all these tips are there to help, but in the end, they don't even have to help. You don't have to go out and look for inspiration. You can just go straight off what you want to do and not look at anything else. That's what a lot of people do. So really do you. Come up with your own ways to move. Really don't try to be different, just try to be you. And what I mean by that is you don't have to be, if being you still has you looking similar to somebody else, that's perfectly fine, because you're doing you. And nobody can do exactly like you, so you're never going to do exactly like anybody else. So as long as you're sticking true to what it is that you want to do, then boom, go for it. There's no better way to dance than to just do you and do what you want to do. That's why we get the chance to freestyle and make choreography, because it's all about us and putting us out onto the floor, how we feel, our mind, body, and soul, ears, eyes, all the senses connecting with music, and just beauty comes out. Other than that, that is it. Hopefully that helped you guys out. Hopefully you'll be making more choreographies. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comment box. Give me a big old thumbs up if you enjoyed this, and as always, go ahead and subscribe for plenty more content just like this, dropping knowledge, how-tos, and all the other stuff that we do here. So other than that, I am DZRCKS. I gotta be able to record with you here, bro, or else you can't be over here, or it's gonna be an issue. I know, but it's like every time though, much footage I just wasted. Look how much film. What's going So you leaving afterwards, right? And they both mine. This is mine. This is mine. You left that shit. I mean, 24 hours, nigga, it's my shit. I just wasted like a minute, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop this one. That was a good minute and 30 seconds to just